Welcome back to the English Zone. Whether you're just getting started with English or you've been learning for a while, today's episode is going to be a game changer. If you've ever struggled with speaking English confidently, if you've ever felt shy or worried about making mistakes, today we've got your back.
Absolutely. You know, John, I think one of the biggest challenges for English learners is getting comfortable speaking. It's not just about knowing the words, it's about how to speak and how to feel confident when you do. I mean, how many of our listeners have faced that moment when you freeze in a conversation or second guess everything you want to say?
Oh, I know that feeling. I've been there myself. I remember when I first started learning English, I was terrified of speaking. I'd know all the words, but when it came time to actually speak, my mind would just go blank. It's like I knew what I wanted to say, but I just couldn't get the words out. It's such a common issue for learners.
Totally, and I bet many of you listening feel the same way. But here's the good news. This problem can be fixed. You can speak English confidently and fluently, and guess what? The best way to do that is through consistent practice. We're going to dive into the best ways you can practice English conversations every single day, and trust me, it's easier than you think.
Exactly. I think a lot of learners get overwhelmed by the idea of speaking. They think they need to be perfect right away, but that's just not true. Speaking comes with practice, and as we'll talk about today, making mistakes is part of the journey. So let's kick things off with the first strategy for improving your speaking skills.
All right, let's get started. So, John, what was one of the first things you did when you started practicing speaking?
Well, one thing I always tell learners is start small. Don't try to jump into long conversations about complex topics right away. Start with simple sentences, like greetings. For example, I used to practice saying, "How's it going?" or "What's up?" when I met people. I didn't try to impress anyone with big words. I just started with easy, everyday phrases that I knew would help me get comfortable.
That's such a great point. It's like learning to walk before you can run, right? Imagine this. You're meeting a new friend, and instead of diving straight into deep questions, you just say, "Where are you from?" Or "What do you do for fun?" These are small, easy questions that help get the conversation started and allow you to practice speaking without pressure.
Exactly. And the more you practice these small interactions, the more confident you'll feel when the conversation naturally flows.
Now, let's talk about the next key tip: daily conversations. A lot of learners struggle here because they think they need a partner or a tutor to practice with, but you really don't.
Yeah, and I get it. If you're not in an English-speaking country, finding someone to talk to every day can feel like a huge challenge. But here's the truth. There are so many opportunities for conversation all around us. Whether it's through apps, online language exchange, or even talking to yourself, daily practice is so important.
Absolutely. For me, when I first started, I didn't always have a partner to speak with, so I would talk to myself. I know, it sounds kind of funny, but it actually worked. I'd be walking around the house and practicing phrases like, "I'm going to the store," or "I like this coffee." And if you're shy, even just repeating what you hear in TV shows or podcasts can be really helpful.
Yes, repeating sentences is such an underrated technique. I do the same thing now. Let's say I'm watching a movie and someone says something like, "What's your plan for the weekend?" I'll pause and repeat it. It's like mirroring the conversation and getting it stuck in your head. The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
And if you do have the chance to find a language partner, do it. A language partner can make all the difference.
That's right. In fact, I met one of my best friends through a language exchange app. We'd spend 15 minutes speaking in English, then switch to Spanish for the next 15 minutes. I have to say, those conversations made me feel much more comfortable with speaking. It was real, and there was no pressure.
Totally. I've had some great conversations too. And you'll find that the more you speak with others, the less afraid you are of making mistakes. And that's key. You have to embrace your mistakes because that's how you learn.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to speak and mess up. The more you talk, the better you get.
Speaking of real conversations, another tip is to practice speaking about real-life topics. Sometimes learners get too focused on memorizing vocabulary or phrases from textbooks, but real conversations are messy, fun, and full of natural language.
Exactly. When I first started, I would practice talking about things I loved. Movies, food, travel, those are great conversation starters. For example, I remember talking to someone about my favorite movie. I'd say, "I love The Lion King. It's such a beautiful movie." What about you? What's your favorite movie? Just small talk, but it helped me practice vocabulary I'd actually use.
You know, that's something I still do today. I'll talk about my favorite shows or hobbies. If I don't know a word, I'll ask about it in the conversation. For instance, I'm really into cooking. Do you know any good recipes? You don't have to be an expert to talk about these things. You just have to start the conversation.
Let's not forget about listening. A lot of learners want to speak, but forget to listen. Trust me, listening to native speakers will help your speaking more than you realize.
Yes, listening is crucial. When I first started, I would listen to podcasts and TV shows, then pause and repeat what I heard. It's such a simple way to practice pronunciation and the natural flow of conversation.
That's right. Even now, I'll pause a video I'm watching and try to repeat what the character said. It helps me to understand the rhythm and tone of the language. So whether you're listening to a podcast, watching a movie, or having a conversation with someone, listening and repeating is a must.
And last but not least, embrace your mistakes. We all make them. Even the most fluent speakers mess up sometimes.
Absolutely. I used to be so scared of making mistakes that I'd avoid speaking altogether. But once I accepted that mistakes are part of learning, everything became easier.
It's true. For example, I remember once ordering food at a restaurant and saying, "a pizza with cheese," instead of "a cheese pizza." I was embarrassed at first, but the waiter understood me and it was a learning moment. Now I laugh about it.
So, there you have it. Practicing English conversations doesn't have to be scary. With the right strategies, you can build your confidence and fluency over time. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent and having fun with your learning.
Exactly. Keep practicing every day. Talk to yourself if you have to, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. You've got this.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope today's episode has inspired you to start speaking English with confidence. Keep practicing. and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, happy speaking!